Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, to our witnesses, this is obviously our lead-off hearing, which obviously I think speaks volumes about the priority that this subcommittee gives to this issue, and actually the Armed Services Committee as a whole. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 13 states Congress shall provide and maintain a Navy, not the President, not the Navy. So obviously the opportunity and mandate for us to move forward really rests with the Article 1 branch of government. And again, I agree with Mr. Kelly's sort of strategic description of what we're looking at in terms of the need for strengthening the sea services and expanding the fleet size, whether it's Indo-PACOM, Europe, Northern Command, Southern Command, Central Command. It's the combatant commanders' demand for Navy ships and Coast Guard ships, for that matter, outstrips obviously the size of the fleet, and we have to do everything we can to expand in capacity and accelerate production cadence to meet the moment that's there. I have a statement which I'm not going to read all the way through because, again, we have lots of testimony to hear, and I want to give also members an opportunity. But I would just note a couple of things reviewing your testimony, which is that this subcommittee has not been a bystander over the last 10 years in terms of real meaningful changes that are happening and helping in terms of cost effectiveness and efficiency in the shipbuilding process. The National Sea-Based Deterrence Fund, which again is on the books, created multi-year authorities for the construction of the Columbia-class submarine. And again, we have the numbers, which shows the savings that multi-year process has actually generated. And again, the feedback, whether it's from the shipyards or the supply chain, have emphasized over and over again how valuable that change in terms of the procurement process has been in terms of getting what the Navy describes as the most important acquisition program in their portfolio, recapitalizing our ballistic submarine fleet. Number two, the submarine industrial base funding, which started in 2018, again, originated on this subcommittee, a recognition by a lot of us who represent shipyards that investing in workforce, supply chain, and facility had to be basically increased outside of just the regular procurement line items. The first year we did it in 2018 with Jim Langevin, it was a $20 million plus up to the Navy's budget. There was actually some resistance within the Navy in terms of doing that, but now we're $6 billion into this enterprise, which again has had extremely strong bipartisan results. And again, I think that whether it's down in Alabama, where the strategic outsourcing is happening, at Austell Shipyard, now Philadelphia Shipyard is going to be, again, part of this process in terms of large metal fabrication to, again, take man hours out of New England and Virginia. I mean, it's starting to pay real dividends. Lastly, the vessel construction manager at MARAD in terms of the maritime training ships, which, again, the Sea Power Subcommittee gave the authority to MARAD to go outside the normal Navy procurement process, and I'll provide a private sector model in terms of the contract design and execution. If anybody goes up there, and Mr. Norcross is right across the river from it, you'll see that those 6 huge 600-foot plus ships are being delivered on time within that contract structure. And frankly, we need to, and Mr. Seidel and I had a talk about this in the office the other day, those are the kind of tools that we need to implement in terms of getting, as the president said, faster and bigger. And again, we can sort of be a big partner in terms of producing that. So my last sort of concern is, and I'm hearing this, I had a supply chain event up in Hartford yesterday. The tariff impact in terms of steel prices and other commodities that go into shipbuilding is being impacted. I mean, that is just, the rolled steel increase since January is like 26% in terms of just what vendors are seeing out there. And I think, frankly, that's part of this issue, which is that when we're talking about cost overruns, and the GAO report goes into it in chapter and verse, we've got to, think holistically here in terms of just, this is not just an NDAA issue. There's large, policy issues that even tariffs are going to impact whether or not we can build steel ships with nickel alloy coming from Canada. I mean, it's just, that's just a reality that's there. Everybody's got to be, their head on a swivel in terms of really looking around and making sure that we're making good and smart choices. Again, the Office of Shipbuilding, which the White House has set up, manned by Ian Bennett, Mr. Kelly's staffer, I think is a very encouraging sign. We're very excited, and we're hoping that the SAWS initiative, which faltered at the end of the last administration, is something that, again, people are going to take another fresh look at if we want to accelerate and expand the size of shipbuilding. That's probably a longer statement than my written statement. I apologize to the members that are there. But again, I think there's a lot of passion and interest in this issue. And again, we've got a great panel here today to explore that, and with that, I yield back.